I believe as a society we get what we celebrate.
I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Super Bowl of STEM.
It's one small step for man, giant leap for mankind.
If you want to change the world, become an engineer.
If you look at the biggest companies in America, almost all of them are science, technology, engineering, and math.
The only reason I got a chance to do this is because of a dream. It opened my eyes to a different world.
You cannot wake up through the morning and get through the day without specifically being impacted by science, technology, engineering, and math.
The hopes and dreams of America's college students are dying. The Thurgood Marshall College Fund supports the 47 public, historically black colleges and universities. 80% of all students attending an HBCU are doing so on public HBCU campuses. With your help, TMCF can continue to be the lifeline of nearly 300,000 diverse students. Visit our website today to make a donation to help these very deserving students. The Thurgood Marshall College Fund, where education pays off.
Welcome back to The Color of STEM. The Color of STEM continues.
Met at the Makers Fair.
Right. Right.
Your involvement as a judge there, I mean, why was that significant and how did you get involved?
So I'm home based at the MIT Media Lab, and I essentially came here because my kids, man, was zooming so far out in front of me on the technology side, I didn't want to get left behind. And Boston is my home. I come back to Boston, and I wanted something to do that was new and interesting and challenging. You know, I'm originally an architect, and I've been a successful producer and writer, and I've also had success in music. So I wanted a new challenge that was harder than anything I could imagine that I might do. And I have two great mentors in life. One is Dr. Mel King, who is a professor emeritus at MIT. And he has put together, it's 10 years now, what is in fact the first community-based fabrication laboratory in the world that was spun out of MIT. The whole Bits to Atoms laboratory here is the home and birthplace of the fabrication laboratories. So when they wanted to put one in the community, you know, beyond MIT, they went to Dr. King, who was here, and he's being honored by the International Fabrication Conference, and he is a black man, for having given birth to community fabrication laboratories. So that was my mentor. So when I first came to MIT years ago, he's the person who brought me here. So I came back in town and I said, I want to do something. You know, I was still making films. I want to be a little more challenged. You know, technology interests me. And his place, the South End Technology Center, essentially takes young people, you know, high school age primarily, brings them to MIT for 8 weeks every Saturday, teaches them the rudiments of technology, and then teaches them how to teach. And then through his operation, the South End Technology Center, these young people then teach their peers, and they teach younger people in a program that's called Learn to Teach, Teach to Learn. And so that particular program has graduated its first 4 PhDs in computer science, and that is due to the exposure that they gained in a space that we think we don't belong in, but you know, through a theory called constructionism, which is a theory created here at MIT by Seymour Papert. The idea being making and doing is an interesting doorway to learning, to critical thinking, to strategic thinking. So I got into the notion of what I call innovation centers due to Mel. So I came here and I learned, the process, created a system, created a methodology, and then I called up some of the HBCUs and I said, you got to see this. And presidents and chancellors and provosts came and visited. I exposed them to the Media Lab, and then I would expose them to the South End Technology Center so that they could see it could be at an achievable scale, and every time they visited us, we had the young people, give the talk, give the explanation. We step back and we let the young people do it, because that's how you build leadership and that's how you build self-confidence. So in that learn to teach to learn thing, there's a couple of very interesting things about that. If you can teach somebody, you probably know what you're talking about. And if you can't, you don't want to get up in front of an audience and collapse, man. You want to be able to, So it's a great, great system for building confidence, strength, competence, and the rest. So the HBCUs, and I got invited to the White House a couple of times to talk about it, and on the first occasion there were a number of important HBCU people there. They heard me. Then a series of invitations here, to show and tell, and invitations there. So I'm very devoted to it. Now, my devotion to the notion is this. See, I think that we have to get busy in the technology space to create a new generation of computer scientists, inventors, and innovators. When we get the means of production, and given how culturally audacious we are and creative bodaciously we are as a people, I always use this example, a black man and a non-black man go into a hat store and they both buy the same hat. Well, when the brother walks out the store, it ain't a hat no more. It's got a whole other thing. You know what I'm saying? Or there are 12 notes in music. Stravinsky took his 12, and I like Stravinsky. And he fiddled and tinkered and did what he had to do with his 12. But Stevie Wonder took 12, and he went out the other door. And Stevie sells more records than Stravinsky. So when our culture and ideas and formats converge, and we let our culture lead the experience, something else happens. I was in New York, checked into this 5-star hotel, and went upstairs to my room, and on the side table was a placard saying, "This sound system in this room, which is magnificent, has been brought to you by Dr. Dre." You understand what I'm saying? So Dr. Dre bought a headphone company, then he flipped it, with his own cultural vibration, and then he sold it for $3 billion to Apple. So when our culture converges with the means of production, something else happens. Jimi Hendrix played upside down and backwards on the left side, man. And then they had to invent tools, and platforms and pedals, man, to try to recreate the sounds that he could create naturally. And it's, so there's a sort of in our DNA, there's this thing, and I position it in what I see as the history of Black America, and I've stripped it down for myself to about 30 seconds. It's cultural audacity, it's creative bodacity, it's human capacity, it is political tenacity, and it is spiritual veracity, man. And so in that historical construct, if you just look deeper into the notion of cultural audacity and its thing about us that wants to push up against boundaries, be it injustice, right? Be it spirituality, that's in our DNA, man. So when we get the means of production, right, and we start taking, those generic principles and theorems and practices and, you know, theorems, the whole deal, man, and we start flipping it our way, something's going to happen. Now, why is this important? It's important because...
Break. The wind is hitting me a little bit. I was waiting for you to come to a break, man, but you wasn't stopping. Hold on.
Oh, I just get to talk.
No, that's good, man. That's good. I'm going to plan B that window snuck up on me here.
There's another lens to look through when we talk about cultural audacity. There's a major productivity problem in this country. The technology industry has been highly reliant on foreign intellectual capital. Well, China and India are building technology empires, and they're calling their people home. And the money that they make in Silicon Valley is the same kind of money as being offered to them in their home countries, man. And you can go home and have a palace and 4 servants and a driver, man, and send your kids to the best possible schools for the same kind of money that you make in Silicon Valley. So there's going to be a major intellectual drain, runoff, man. And so, you know, African American intellectual capital is going to become very, very important to the future productivity and competitiveness of this country. And so one of the reasons I wanted to join the Media Lab with the HBCUs is because we have a tremendous amount of knowledge here that's very forward thinking, and we decided we should share that with some of the HBCUs in the interest of making them more competitive and causing a revitalization of that invention and innovation space. You know, the Dre thing has another deep implication. It's not just the fact that he sold the company for $3 billion. They wanted his mindset, his cultural mindfulness. They wanted that subscription service that he's been building with 200,000 people. But you know, another deep part of that is he flipped, I don't know whether it's $50 or $60 million to USC and set up an innovation center where he has first call on all of the IPs that come out of that center. So this young brother is thinking long, far, and he is a major contributor to the future of American productivity and competitiveness. So we need to view ourselves as being, you know, extraordinary, capable, and as we enter the space, it's not just about us being in the back room of Verizon. It's also about us being in the front room of industry and on the front of that technology train. And you know, we've proven that we have, you know, leadership capability. We've proven that we're innovators. If you recall, due to history, the first music we made in America, you know, was field hollers in a cotton field. And look where we are now. You know, when young people got their hands around affordable, miniaturized music technology, you know, those recorder boxes, you know, they created the rap industry and the hip-hop industry. You know, we created jazz, you know, we created blues. Now, music is just one metaphor, you see, because we work in other areas, but we usually do it somewhat quietly. But due to this technology opportunity, because the affordable means of production, is now staring us directly in the face, we're gonna blow up some stuff, man. We're gonna make some stuff happen that's gonna benefit everybody. So I see this as a great, great opportunity for our community to stimulate workforce development, to stimulate economic development, to stimulate American competitiveness, American productivity. And so we're in the game, because every time we get the means of production, Obama got a law book, man, and he became president of the United States. So I'm highly optimistic, while at the same time I'm enormously saddened by what's happening to black males in our society, and part of my hopefulness is that we can create new industries that will put some of our brothers, and sisters to work, and so there are enormous implications for our engagement of technology. But my space, the thing I'm most interested in, man, is how to stimulate innovation, invention, and how to, actuate things that can take us to the next level and be at the front of the game, on the train, creating our own executive suites. If I touch a number of HBCUs, I'm convinced, quite personally convinced, because of our audaciousness and our willingness to challenge boundaries and challenge any glass ceiling that exists, I'm absolutely convinced that we will see a sister out of Spelman who will be a Zuckerberg, and that we will see a brother out of Howard, that will be a Bill Gates. I'm convinced of this, man. I'm absolutely convinced, because I use our history as a measure. We came from slavery, man, and I say to myself, Harriet Tubman was an innovator. She was an innovator. She was an inventor, right? She was a scientist, man. She figured out the science of escape, the science of freedom, man. And so I'm absolutely convinced, due to our history, that long history of ours, that we're gonna make a difference, man. And when people talk about Obama, and they have this thing in the back of their head about, we got a black president, but people are sort of thinking he may be the only one. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about who's going to be the next one. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about who's going to be the next one, because now we're embedded in the history and the fabric of this country, man. We ain't going nowhere.
What's about access? I agree. Access for that we can move forward. The mystique used to be of science. Like for me, we'll pick a school. Say, okay, we're gonna take algebra, we're gonna do trig. We say, whoa, that's not for me.
Right.
So I'm a social service side.
Right.
So that's kind of what it's done. So the whole mystique of is kind of difficult, it's hard, and we're not adapted for. How do we overcome that?
My experience has been that most of our people don't like to be the engine, but they don't like to be the caboose. And so my other experience is that a lot of folks don't want to step out. So when I was at Howard and I was in the civil rights movement, and Howard had about 11,000 students, only about 50 or 60 in the movement then. And then the movement caught on. See, so it's like the new shoe, man. You got the shoe, I want the shoe. And so I think we have to bring technology into fashion. We have to reset the mindset. The mindset right now believes that we don't belong in the space. Okay, we got to change that. So we got to tell the stories. And, how many times in life, man, have you heard from people that you grew up with, well, Top is doing it, but I know I can do it better than Top of that. So therefore role modeling, success stories, and example of possibility become very important. In this program that I talked about, the South End Technology Center, we teach the young people to teach, and they seem to be more effective at convincing their peers of the possibility than an adult like myself could ever be. And so I think it's success stories around economic success, research success, scientific success, and role models. You know, because once I can see a brother up in the house, you know, I know there's some other people out there thinking they can be president of the United States. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that we got to bust that mindset. Got to reset the mindset. And I always refer to it as resetting the mindset. And when we reset it, we got to make people think about possibility. That possibility is real. It's not just a hope. It's a real, true, honest to God possibility. So that's what we got to be about.
The HBCU collaboration, is it up and running? When does it happen?
In fact, when I was on my way to see you, I just saw one of the young HBCU people that I've been relating to from North Carolina Central. They're here for 2 days, and we've been collaborating with a number of them on a pilot basis. There are 18 to 20 of them coming here to visit in the winter, where we make a knowledge transfer, you know, and we show them our lab and we show them the kinds of things that we do. So there is a working relationship with several of them that we qualify as being in the pilot.
Again, you answered in terms of how we get minorities involved. Talk about the technology gap. Is that real?
See, the technology gap is very interesting. We are great adopters of technology on a consumer basis, but the gap that exists is in our belief that we can become the inventors, the innovators, and the designers of technology experiences. So yes, there is a gap, but the gap is mostly in that zone, you know, where most of the real control points are. But if you look at Twitter, you know, on a percentage per capita basis, there are more black adopters than anybody else. You know, if you look at Facebook, you know, if you look at a number of these technologies, you know, we're major consumers that are great contributors to the profit margin of many of these companies, and they know that. And we've got to get into the deeper, you know, inner sanctums of technology, where the good jobs are, where the decisions are, where the invention is. You know, I've been out to Silicon Valley, and you know, some of those companies, you know, in the deep tech space, once you get beyond clerical and security and the rest, you know, black employment is at about 1%. So we got to get that going, man. And
how does what's the responsibility of corporate America? You're talking about Silicon Valley, like the Apples and the Microsofts. I mean, obviously, it's a business for them. But is there a commitment that they should have that they're not fulfilling, or how do we push them along?
What Technology America needs to understand is that it has a gap problem, evidenced by the fact that so many of their high technology workers are foreign, recognized by the fact that so many of them are going to go home where they can live a better life for the kind of money that they make here and will soon make in their home countries as those countries begin to build technology empires. So those people in Silicon Valley, the big companies, need to understand that there's a massive amount of intellectual capital in the black community that can in fact translate itself into the technology space and be those workers and be that workforce that it needs for the future if it intends to remain competitive and productive. So forget the fact that, you know, there is this racial divide. You know, it's not just a racial divide, it is a technology divide that's about to occur. And those companies need to reach where they can, man, to get great workers. And you know You know how the HBCUs are, man. 17% of the black doctors come from that 100 schools. 26% of the women in STEM come from Spelman College, right? We see those stars. We know those stars. We've been touched and we've embraced those Morehouse and those Howard and those Spelman and Hampton, Morgan. Go on. So it would be a wise decision and on the part of those big tech companies to recognize that not only do they have a need, but this is a fairly rambunctious and tenacious and audacious, population that is going to hit some home runs. And I always say, I always look at this one too. I remember when the NBA was all white. And if you take them brothers off the floor out the game, there ain't no game. Right? Ain't no ticket sales, man. They ain't selling no hot dogs. So I compare. I'm not saying that you're gonna go to Silicon Valley and suddenly gonna look like Harlem. I ain't saying that at all. But I'm saying that there is a great benefit to be had by embracing the enthusiasm and the interest that's emerging and escalating that exists in our community.
This is kind of a flip back to the beginning, but you transitioned from producer to now you don't do it anymore, to the technology world. What kind of moved you there? What was your aha moment? You saying, something else was happening?
A few things. One, I'm originally an architect, so architecture is elliptical thinking. So when you design a building, you're thinking about the structural engineering, the mechanical engineering, the civil engineering, all those things come into play at one time. So it's not just a linear thinking process. The same thing applies to filmmaking. And I started making films because my early films were about architecture. And I had an architectural design firm with a friend of mine, and he said to me, you should make a film as part of the presentation for our next project, which is an urban design project in DC about the Shaw community. So then I connected to it because, I've always had a great interest in young people, so I started a program to teach filmmaking to teenage boys in the Adams Morgan section of DC. And I liked it because while in fact they weren't enormously gifted in math or English, you give them a tool that allows them to make something that they can ultimately see. They caught on fire. Then I began to understand the power of filmmaking. So I eventually went to LA, and it had been after a stint here at MIT, and I was an independent producer, which meant that I was responsible for everything, man. But I'd raise money. And I realized that in the early 80s, computers could help me affect a management system that would allow me to have an accurate forecasting system on an hourly basis where I was with every dime. Okay, so I jumped into that stuff early. And then, to be competitive, I recognized the power of desktop technologies. So that gave me more control in the editorial process. And so I started that computer thing, man, in the 80s, man. And then when I came back to MIT, the first thing that I did, one of the first things I did was to look at new production methodologies, new storytelling modalities. And so I got that. And I made a couple of films. One is half finished, using these new modalities, a new kind of language that I'm trying to invent for myself. But I'm also in my new lab going to push forward with augmented reality, virtual reality, motion capture, gaming technologies, and interactive media, but looking for ways to cross-fertilize these things in the interest of creating new expressions. So I'm always interested in what's next. By doing that, I've always managed to be competitive, more competitive. And it's just the nature of my personality and my deep curiosity about things generally. So that's the transition. I mean, I was just thinking about a continue. And I made 5 films here, but one of them was a computationally animated film, which is my first time being in that space. And so there's something else out just over the horizon, in a Afrofuturistic kind of way. There's something just over the curve, man. And I'm sort of figuring that out and exploring that and tinkering with that. So fortunately, I now have a bunch of computer scientists who work with me, and I will tell you, I don't know as much about computer science as they do. I'm learning, but I'm pushing, man. There's a new expression. I don't know what it is. You know, in the at one of the HBCUs, I'm pushing them to create new musical idioms, new black musical idioms, and new black instruments. And I think it's possible. You know, I mean, post Ornette Coleman, man. You know, and so I like that zone. I like to be out there on that edge, man, because if it's happening, I don't really want to do it. Like when I left LA because I had success, man. I couldn't repeat that success. I get crazy doing that, man. You know, trying to chase the same success you had. And that success didn't come easy, man. That was like LA for me, to get, well, my first hit came in about 3 or 4 years. My second one took about 10 years, man. Yeah, so you got to hang, man. It's like being in the bush, man, trying to get the bear, you know. So I don't want to do that again. I didn't have to, so I decided not to. Technology, for me, was like graduating from high school. I never thought I was going to get out of high school, man. In my senior year, I went to a test high school, man, and I was learning more at home with my grandfather. So I was being homeschooled and going to a test high school. I didn't do anything, man. And so I remember the 10 black students in this school in Boston. The guidance counselor brings me down. What do you want to do? You know, Irish dude. I want to go to college, man. He said, well, I think you should probably get a job as a sheet metal worker in the Navy Yard. So here's how God works, man. That's why I believe in spiritual veracity, you know. 3 weeks later, they hired a black guidance counselor. I told him the same thing I told the white dude. I want to go to college. He said to me, where you want to go? I want to go to Harvard. So he looked at me and said, I don't know, man, but I can get you another H. If you work this year, I can get you Howard. And so it changed my life, man. And I went to Howard, joined the movement, and I became a rascal, man. You know, challenge, man. You know, so, but that's kind of it, man. It's a one big transition with one very interesting through line. And one thing that's never changed is the content of what I do. It's always about our struggle, our journey, our ascendancy. It's always about us as we're back here and we're coming forward, you know, and same thing, man, what I'm doing here. That's the HBCU work. It's the work I'm doing. I got another project, man, 8th through 12th graders, man, where we're gonna take them all the way through the 12th grade and teach them everything about the technology space, computational thinking, constructionism, man. They're all gonna come out the other end as computer scientists, man. They may not even have to go to college, and but the same thing, man. Same thing. If you look at every piece of my work, man, probably maybe but for one, you'll see that theme, man. Yeah, let's get busy. We coming. So.
We're great. What we need to do is put the 4 quadrants of NASA. That part again. Give me that because I got a little bit of feedback when I said the mic.
All right, I'll give it to you. Yeah. So.
Stand by. Good.
What time is it, by the way?
I got.
I'm good.
2:35.
Okay, I'm good. So, one of the reasons that I think that we are going to achieve mastery, excellence, ascendancy, impact, due to our inventiveness and our innovation. We basically innovation, man. My greatest innovator I met was my grandmother, man. She could take a chicken, she could barbecue it, she could fry it, she could fricassee it, man. She could make soup. She could figure out how one chicken would feed 15 people. That was the great innovator, the first one I met, man. And the reason I'm convinced that we will achieve a measure of greatness and having a major impact on this whole technology game, man, is because of what I see as the history of black people in America, which I have for myself broken down to a 30-second thing, man. It's cultural audacity, it's creative bodacity, it's human capacity, it's political tenacity, and it's spiritual veracity. Now you can apply that to any sector of your life, man. You know where you are at any point in time. You can apply that to our history. You know where we are now. But the very notion of cultural audacity by itself should be a signal to folks that we're going to do something and we're going to do it different, and it's going to fit in the overall context of the American experience, like jazz, which is now worldwide, and America fashions it as one of the great gifts to the world, which we invented in New Orleans somewhere, man, in after hours joints. So our ride has been a long ride, and that ride is cool, man, and now we're on that technology train. And our hustle is to get toward the front, man, and not be standing on the platform when the train pulls out. We got to be near the wheels at the front, because that's where the action is, and we're gonna get there. Just due to our history, man. History is a great measure and a great storyteller, and that's why I'm absolutely, completely convinced, man, that we will achieve a measure of greatness and ascendancy in the technology space.
That was great.
Yeah, man.
We'll be back in a moment.
They say the path chosen today prepares leaders for tomorrow. So I chose academics, excellence, and a diverse culture. My choice was clear. I am a graduate of Morgan State University.
Did you know that Morgan State University has educated more than half of the African American engineers, educators, and healthcare professionals in Maryland?
I could have sent my children to any school around the country, but we chose Texas Southern because they were interested in educating these children.
Any field that you leave Texas Southern with a degree in that you decide to pursue, you're not there because it's sympathetic. You're there because you're one of the best.
I'm Michael Strahan, and I am Texas Southern University.
Here's more from our Color of STEM series.
Okay, so I received my degree in the spring of 2014. Systems and computer science. Fresh out of undergrad, I accepted a role as a junior software developer with a smaller IT company based out in Reston, Virginia. I worked there for a little while in automation testing, a little software development, not a whole lot. So now I'm transitioning into a field that's a little more hands-on in terms of coding. So that's where I'm at.
Big picture,
Yes. Big picture. So I got my start with just in the MySpace area where everybody was doing like web development. Everybody's trying to create their own web pages, and I was pretty good at that. We'll call it my side hustle because everybody came to me when they wanted their pages done. And From there, I took a couple of web development courses in high school, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try my hand at this in undergrad. So I got to undergrad, pursued that degree, and then I had a lot of support from the organization that I'm a part of, the National Society of Black Engineers, in which I got to interact with their summer engineering experience for kids, where they pretty much take STEM-based concepts and they turn it into different toys and activities for them to do, and I get to work with them for a few summers. I was like, I have a couple of friends who have startups or working towards summer camps and stuff that they have where they're just kicking it with the kids, introducing them to engineering concepts, learning the code, all at this early age. And so that's really, like, for me, big picture, I want to be able to be in an environment where I'm constantly able to get kids passionate about something that I already share a passion for. So that's what I see. Like I said, I'm an alumni, so I've been with the CFAM. I transitioned from the CFAM to the Young Adult Ministry, but I was with the CFAM since my freshman year.
Can you next on the CFAM?
Oh, CFAM is the...
Okay, and you'll say CFAM,
okay.
And just tell me what the acronym is.
I'm not really sure what the acronym is. That's just his abbreviation for it, but it's basically the ministry dedicated to those students at Howard University. So the CFAM, basically every Sunday, Reverend Ware sends a bus or a van to the different dorms, and they pick us up for church. On Fridays, he usually does a session at Starbucks where he comes in and he just pretty much drinks are on him. You get an opportunity to just come and talk to him, what's going on in life, what are your problems, you know. And he sends out a weekly newsletter where you're constantly getting words of encouragement and just opportunities to interact with one another. And I'm just like, so. I've been with the CFAM. I was with the CFAM for all 4 years of undergrad, and then once I graduated from Howard, and since I was still based in the area, I became a member of the church and then transitioned to the Young Adult Ministry. So I get to hang out with him on Thursdays and Young Adult Bible Study. And so it's been a real pivotal part just because it creates an environment where there are people my age where we can talk about problems that are unique to just us, you know, scholarship stuff, or studying for finals, how am I gonna make it through this week? And then with the young adults, it's like, you know, relationship stuff, or, you know, how do you handle finances stuff, and just different areas where Reverend Ware and just my CFAM and my young adult fam have just been really pivotal part of me and my growth. So.
You know, black churches and religion, you know, has been a tradition for us to kind of give us a foundation, a base of faith to kind of get through just those kinds of things. Did you find that significant? And if so, what made you say, hey, I want to go and want to continue to go?
Right. So, like I said, Starbucks is one of the area to go to. It's connected to the bookstore on campus. So for Reverend Ware to use that as a venue for students to just come to him, it's like, okay, you know, come, drinks on me, whatever it is that you need, let's talk about what's going on. And just to have that, like, especially when you're going through something and you don't necessarily want to talk to everybody about your issues, so you go to Reverend Ware and he kind of just gets it all, like, everything that's going on right now, I'm gonna hit it with you, and then I'm gonna get it out of my system, and then I'm gonna go back to studying, or I'm gonna go back to my dorm and just relax, because now I've gotten it out of the system. So for me, it was moments like that. I had a bunch of friends who were also, you know, coming to CFAM. Either they were from the DMV area and had heard about the church from someone, or they were members themselves. And, you know, I came and it was just like, you receive a word that was specifically for me for that day. And so I was like, okay, I got to come and check it out next week. Let's see if they do it 2 times in a row. And from there, it was kind of like, okay, this feels like home for me. This is a welcoming environment. This is where I need to be in order to, you know, make it through these next 4 years. And then from there, after, you know, graduation, they were such a pivotal part of me making it through undergrad that I had no other option but to join the church afterwards. So.
Just to get one of the last questions is, STEM has kind of been not a lot of females have gotten into it. It's kind of steered away from this kind of a guy's thing.
Right.
How do you break that? Is that just a fallacy, or what do you think?
No, this is really true. I was like, you know, I'm a double minority, right? So my field is predominantly older white male, right? I walked into my classrooms during undergrad being one of maybe 2 other females in the entire program. So it was just like, but when you're in it, I was like, they don't seem like oppositions, right? It was just these are my cohorts. These are the people that I interact with on a daily basis. We became a team. Like my graduating class of computer science and fellow computer scientists, they were like my support system those entire 4 years. We did everything. We created our versions of what we called the ComSci commandments, where, you know, everybody eats. That means that everybody gets the homework assignments done. If everybody not done, hey, we need an extension, you know, just different things like that. It's like, and then transitioning into the workforce, you kind of like, this is what I'm used to. This is what I signed up for, right? It's no less a male-dominated field than what you allow it to be. I was like, this is what I enjoy doing. I was like, why can't women in STEM, you know, change that perspective or whatever? Why can't more women want to code? Why can't more girls like want to do the sciences and the maths and things? It was like, that's what I'm helping to combat. You know, I want you guys to be, I want the young girls to be able to code. I want you to like, you know, be that face. I was like, for me, I didn't have a whole lot of that. There weren't a lot of people that looked like me in my field, being a woman or being African American in general. So for me, it's kind of like, I need to be that face. I need to be that person for someone else. And I'm encouraging my mentees and the other girls and stuff that I interact with to get in this field so that you can lead by example and be that for someone else. So.
Excellent. I know I'm seeing it.
I got you.
I'm coming to ask you for a job.
Well, actually my first choice happened to be biology, but what I really like about the chemistry field is it not only it takes my knowledge, it allows me to take my knowledge and be able to apply to everyday scenarios. I'm able to have a deeper understanding of why the world around me works and why it works that way. So I felt chemistry, for my personal characteristics and the type of person I am, it fit me better, so I chose chemistry. Well, the ultimate goal, I'm actually applying to med school right now. So my ultimate goal is to be an Air Force physician. So after I graduate from medical school, I want to enlist into the Air Force, and then from there, we'll see wherever the Lord leads me. Yeah.
Why do you think it's...
Well, STEM, the thing is with STEM, there's a lot of opportunities for everybody. You may think maybe this, when you have, for me, when I'm a chemistry major, I'm not limited in medicine. I can do research if I wanted to. I can be a pharmacist. I can have so many options for me. So for minorities especially, to keep open many doors for you, you have to, you know, put yourself in STEM where you can just see so many things that you would never think were possible. So I think it's really important to encourage our younger students, our younger siblings, to look into STEM and see what other things you can do with your life, what really speaks to you, because you'll see so many opportunities for yourself.
You know, I guess
I feel like there's definitely that stigma that says that it's too difficult, but when you actually have the will and the actual love for it, then for me, honestly, I had a C in chemistry in high school, and I would never think I would major in chemistry in college, but when I loved it so much that, you know, I just pushed through, and I realized this is something I really want to do. This is something I really enjoy, even though I wasn't the best at it, but with practice and constantly working at it, you realize that you can do it no matter what. Well, being away from home, my faith has been a very important part of my life. It's definitely my foundation. Anything I do, when I feel like I can't handle it anymore, or I'm just over it, I go back to my faith. I go to church, and it just gives me that extra push I need just to keep me going. So coming to Ebenezer and seeing how welcoming everyone, how sweet and kind, and just so happy all the time, it just really makes me really happy to be here, and really happy that I found this church, because it's through everything. Every time I come to Ebenezer, it just gets me ready for the next thing. I can do this. I can get through anything. So I'm really happy I found this church.
You know, I'm gonna be there. I see you Sunday. That kind of thing.
Yeah, we do. My roommate's actually, she's the one who invited me to Ebenezer the first time. And every Sunday, we know we're getting ready. We're going to church today. So definitely people I'm around, people I see every day, I try to invite them, try to get them to come, because it's really helpful in just your everyday life. So
I guess one of my last questions.
Honestly, I believe that when people think of women, they think, oh, we're supposed to be the housewives, or we're just supposed to sit at home, take care of the children. You know, all those type of jobs, that's for the men. They're supposed to, you know, deal with all that type of stuff and then bring the money home. But that's not always true. You know, women are just as smart as men. We can achieve just as much as they can. So we shouldn't look at what everybody else is telling us. What is God telling you? Where do you want to go in life? You should see if chemistry is where I want to go, then let's go to chemistry. If biology is where I want to go, let's do that. Just follow your heart, not what everybody else tells you. Because in the end, you're the only person who can live your life, not them. So you don't want to live with regrets later on in life, thinking, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. You want to know that, yes, I did the best that I could. I achieved everything I wanted to do, not what they told me to do. So it's very important to look at yourself and what God is showing you, not what everybody else is. Well, I try and look for different situations in my own life where I feel like he's talking about me. So when it comes to service, yes, as an African-American woman, I think it's my duty to be able to provide service to other people who haven't had the same opportunities that I've had to. So when he talks about that, I believe, yes, he is talking to me. I should go out there, even if it's not blatantly obvious to me, it's my duty to actually go there and find whoever needs my help and be able to provide whatever service I can to them. You never know. A smile could give someone just that extra push that they need. So whatever I can help, whatever I can do, I try and do my best.
I chose biology because I knew that I wanted to go to professional school, so either be a doctor, pharmacist, dentist, something like that. And being a biology major is so many options. With any STEM field, actually, there are so many options that you can go into, so you don't have to be set on one thing. And I was a biology major going into Howard. They helped me. As soon as I came in, it was a smooth transition freshman year, and now I'm a senior, and I'm still in my major.
You know, and I think that
even within the biology major, there are hundreds of careers that you can go into. So there you can go into a pharmaceutical company, you can be a scientist, you can work for the National Institute of Health, you can work for, you know, some Fortune 500 company that just needs someone, hey, we have this product and we want you to come and see, hey, is it manageable? What's the bio effects of, you know, us having this product and putting it out into, you know, the world. So there's so many things that you can do. You don't necessarily say, okay, I'm going to be a doctor, I have to be a dentist, I have to be something. It's so many things that you can do that you can find something that you're interested in.
you know.
It's been so critical for me, especially for me because I come from a very disadvantaged background. So, and I actually want to be a doctor. I want to be the, you know, the stereotypical bio major, be a doctor. I actually want to be a doctor, and I had so many people say, you can't do it because it's hard. People from where you come from don't do this. But coming to Ebenezer, I've had individuals who have prayed for me, people who say, okay, whatever your dream is, we may not know exactly what it is, but we're going to encourage you. And I can honestly say at the beginning of August, I asked for prayer. I said, okay, I'm actually getting medical school interviews. I'm nervous because I know I'm not going to be in an environment where there are tons of black people. I'm going to where I'm going to be one of maybe 2 black individuals. And they prayed for me, and I can honestly say because of their prayers, because of the prayers of, you know, other individuals in the black community, including my mother, who I love so much, you know, I can honestly say I have medical school acceptances. I know that I'm going to be a doctor. I know that I'm going to be, you know, successful. And that's because we've had this support even when, you know, the odds were against us. They've been here to help us along the way.
Going to an HBCU.
I guess because it's the atmosphere. You get that competitive spirit, but it's not cutthroat competitiveness. It's to a point where I have a group of friends and we all say we're going to be successful, whether they want to be doctors like me, whether they want to be lawyers, engineers, chemists, whatever their field may be, they push me to be successful. And I'm not saying you can't get that at, you know, at a school that's not a historically black institution, but when you see individuals who look like you and push you to do well and aren't saying, okay, let's go hang out in the street, let's go do this and that, who are actually pushing positive things into your mind and trying to uplift you, it's something that you can't replace. It's something that you can't get anywhere else. And that's why you see so many individuals who are successful who come out of HBCUs, why you see so many, you know, PhDs, master degree individuals who come out of HBCUs, because the atmosphere that you get at a historically black institution, you can't find anywhere else. Makes me feel just like any other Sunday. I get uplifted because there's so many things that happen throughout the week. It can really bring you down. And when you hear the message, you're like, okay, I can do it. I can keep going. You know, whatever I may have gone through this week, you know, this teacher got on my nerve. This test was so difficult. I thought I studied, but the test just threw a curveball at me. But you just come to service and you realize, okay, you know, whatever problem I have, nothing is too big for God. You know, God can do anything but fail. So why am I stressing out? Why am I being worried about, you know, a small class when, you know, I serve this huge and humongous and powerful God? And that's what I get out of service every week. So no matter what's going on in my week, I try to make sure, okay, Sunday morning, I'm gonna get on that bus, you know, take a 15-minute nap on the way to church, and then I'm just be ready for service.
We'll be back in a moment.
I believe as a society we get what we celebrate.
I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Super Bowl of STEM.
It's one small step for man, giant leap for mankind.
If you want to change the world, become an engineer.
If you look at the biggest companies in America, almost all of them are science, technology, engineering, and math.
The only reason I got a chance to do this is because of a dream. It opened my eyes to a different world.
You cannot wake up through the morning and get through the day without specifically being impacted by science, technology, engineering, and math.
The hopes and dreams of America's college students are dying. The Thurgood Marshall College Fund supports the 47 public, historically black colleges and universities. 80% of all students attending an HBCU are doing so on public HBCU campuses. With your help, TMCF can continue to be the lifeline of nearly 300,000 diverse students. Visit our website today to make a donation to help these very deserving students. The Thurgood Marshall College Fund, where education pays off.
Now that hip-hop has become the single most dominant cultural touchstone in the lives of most youth, Dr. Chris Emdin, rap genius, and GZA from the Wu-Tang Clan have come together to sponsor Science Genius. They chose hip-hop as an art form to educate the listeners about scientific topics. Let's take a look.
This top 10 MC of all time, GZA, is gonna come into the room. The kids have no idea.
I'm here to just share my knowledge and experience with some of these kids here. What's up, y'all?
Oh my God. I'm just like, is this life?
They know now that the project is bigger than the school.
GZA is one of the figureheads who's actually helping to spearhead this movement of science and rap fusing. So we got this lyric.
Today in class we learned about natural selection and survival of the fittest.
My universe runs like clockwork forever.
And in the middle of the lesson we were reading a line that GZA wrote, and
you're drawn in by immense.
What's up, y'all?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, man. Did I butcher that?
Yeah, you did.
he just walks in.
I lose it. I'm just like, is this life?
GZA is one of the best rappers in the history of rap.
Actually, it's my universe runs like clockworks forever. Words pulled together, sudden change in the weather. The nature and the scale of events don't make sense. A storm with no warning, you're drawn in by immense. Gravity that's going mad, clouds of dust and debris. Moving at colossal speeds, they crush an MC.
The way GZA intertwines science and rap is just flawless.
Microphone left on the scene without a serial. Evidence consistent with organic material. Good morning. My name is GZA from the Wu-Tang Clan. I must say it's an honor to be here today. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm happy to be part of the Science Genius Initiative project. I think it's a great program for one reason, because hip hop is the voice of the youth. It's always been the voice of the youth from day one, and it will continue to be the voice of the youth. And I haven't met any kid that doesn't listen to hip hop, but I have met many that does not like science at all. So it's a great way to bridge the gap. So I'm here to share my experiences, you know, my knowledge with you guys. And I have an album out, it's called Dark Matter. It's all about the universe, and it's inspired by science. So thank you for having me here.
So my heart stopped. First of all, this is probably one of the top 10 MCs ever who's here. If you have any questions, here's your chance.
Why science? Because science is a way, it unlocks the key to the universe and the mysteries of things we don't know. Science is a way of finding out what's there that's hidden, you know, and opens you up to the world. It's about learning about yourself. You know, it's like one of the things, you know, I teach to the students, you know, when we study the universe and the planets, you know, every atom in the body is composed or came from a star billions of years ago. So not only is that a great thing, it's an interesting connection. And you know, science unlocked the keys. I think, you know, it's important. I think in order to survive in the world today, you need science.
I know a lot of you guys are really, really shy. Like, I see the wheels turning. So now we're just really gonna get into our project. Our topic for today was natural selection and evolution. We talked a little bit about mutations, and we have all this vocabulary on the board. So we're hoping you would honor us and do some MC coaching as they craft their rhymes today.
Sure.
All right, cool. So, Space.
They know now that the project is bigger than the school, that, you know, GZA's listening, and there are folks who GZA is listening to who are also paying attention. So I think today was the first time seeing him, they also realized that, man, this is huge.
Another thing, what I do sometimes, you can get the rhyme word first. So if you get a word like processor or adaptation, you get the rhyme word first, and then you put it at the end of the line, and then you write the sentence before, so then it just blends into that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
so what?
Everything was flowing nicely. While I was still writing like my first bar, I was already like close to my ending bar in my head. It wasn't that difficult, honestly. I'm good with topics, not that good with science. So today was surprising to me.
I say, this is my profession. I do it with perfection. I'll survive it, you won't. Call that natural selection.
Since we did learn about natural selection today, and how like one species has to adapt in order to survive, and if you can't adapt, you won't survive. And mutation is basically the change in something normal, and you change it into something either completely different or somewhat different. So I said, I hear other people's rhymes. I don't take them, I mutate them. So I can change it up in my way without it being anywhere near to the rhymes or lyrics that I heard previously.
I was naturally selected by God, and for that and my fam, I'm ripping the track hard. I've been hearing for years, KC, you great. I hear other people's rhymes, don't copy. I mutate the flow, and I go with the instinct as a lyricist. My mind is a cave, Darwin turning in his grave. My bars stay high, but I lay low. I'm about to shine like I died with a halo. No trash, don't believe in pollution. I keep in motion like human evolution.
I had 2 pages to this. I love an interview. Every other day is new. If it's all about the science, I'm the genius in school.
To have GZA have heard my rap is like the best feeling ever, because you're having someone that actually means something in the music business hear you. And for that to happen to me, it means so much to me.
2 pages of bar is nothing but the usual. Call me predator, I think the feeling's just mutual. Way I wrote this verse, man, I'm feeling unusual.
All right.
I must be some type of mutation because I developed a trait that made me the best in the nation. These fake rappers claiming they're gonna kill, but I'm immune by adaptation. Natural selection, survival of the fittest. Just remember, Mother Nature screaming, anybody can get it. I'm not even a rapper, but I'm killing these on camouflage writers. My words may annihilate and be the cause of your extinction.
Is it okay if I read your lyrics out? So, because what she did here is she placed herself in the verse. So can I switch a verse? All right. I must be a mutation because I developed the trait that made me the best in the nation. These fake rappers claiming they're gonna kill I'm immune by adaptation. A natural selection, survival of the fittest. You remember that Mother Nature screaming anybody can get it. I'm not even a rapper, but I'm killing these uncamouflaged writers. My word makes another, my words may annihilate and be the cause of your extinction. I mean, that's tough.
Right?
That's tough.
Metaphors.
Wow. That's.
She said, Mother Nature said you can get it.
Come back, please.
Right?
Yeah. Mother Nature said anybody can get it.
Yes.
Wow.
Today was really good. You know, I listened to some raps. I watched the children, spoke to them for a while, listened to them throw their raps out. The goal is to get children more involved in science. As far as blacks and Latinos, we make up a very, very small percentage of scientists or engineers in the world, but we do make up a lot of athletes and rappers and entertainers, you know, so we need to put more on this side.
At the end of the Science Genius program, I see myself knowing more about different topics in science. The way things are going now, I feel like I know a lot already.
When they're excited about learning, all of a sudden they start seeing themselves as scientists. They start saying that science is not so boring, science is fun. Then they start becoming scientifically literate. You know, by being immersed in the process in the classroom, the idea here is to awaken new possibilities, where kids have more options because of this than they did before they had this. You know, that's the goal.
So that's what Science Genius really is about. It's not just helping me in rap or a specific genre, it's helping me in across for not just like, you know, these recent days and months and stuff, for many more years to come and everything, to make me not only like a better MC, like a better person, more knowledgeable. Thanks for coming through.
Oh, anytime, man. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, this is Jizza, Wu-Tang, and you're watching Thinker. Peace.
We'll be back in a moment.
I believe as a society we get what we celebrate.
I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Super Bowl of STEM.
It's one small step for man, giant leap for mankind.
If you want to change the world, become an engineer.
If you look at the biggest companies in America, almost all of them are science, technology, engineering, and math.
The only reason I got a chance to do this is because of a dream. It opened my eyes to a different world.
You cannot wake up through the morning and get through the day without specifically being impacted by science, technology, engineering, and math.
The hopes and dreams of America's college students are dying. The Thurgood Marshall College Fund supports the 47 public, historically black colleges and universities. 80% of all students attending an HBCU are doing so on public HBCU campuses. With your help, TMCF can continue to be the lifeline of nearly 300,000 diverse students. Visit our website today to make a donation to help these very deserving students. The Thurgood Marshall College Fund, where education pays off.
Welcome back. In our Corporate Profile Making It Happen segment, we'll take a look at historically black colleges and universities' partnerships with industry leaders as they provide career opportunities and investments in these historic institutions.
Enriching and diversifying our workforce, there wouldn't possibly be a need for AMY. But AMY is a collection of corporate interests, but very much an interest of the schools of engineering at the historically black colleges and universities. And right now there are 15 with accredited engineering programs that are a part of the Council of Engineering Deans at historically black colleges and universities out of the 340 or so engineering schools in the country. So AMY, where these corporations have, and industry and agencies have joined with these 15 institutions to talk about common challenges and common problems and how we might further solve the workforce initiatives going forward from this point on into the future.
The buy-in with the corporations, or I guess the corporations.
Enriching and diversifying our workforce, there wouldn't possibly be a need for AMY. But AMY is a collection of corporate interests, but very much an interest of the schools of engineering at the historically black colleges and universities. And right now there are 15 with accredited engineering programs that are a part of the Council of Engineering Deans at historically black colleges and universities out of the 340 or so engineering schools in the country. So AMY, where these corporations have, and industry and agencies have joined with these 15 institutions to talk about common challenges and common problems and how we might further solve the workforce initiatives going forward from this point on into the future.
The buy-in with the corporations, or I guess the corporations.
I'm Allison Seymour. Here at The Color of STEM, we want to inspire you to think seriously about a STEM career and the impact you can make on your world and your community. The technology changes so quickly, it's sometimes hard to imagine the jobs of the not too distant future. Think STEM.